Hey everyone, it's CL, and for today's video, it's kind of a confession video. It's one that I'm a little bit embarrassed about because, to tell you the truth, I go through a lot of boyfriends, and it's not like I'm purposely seeking out these guys, okay? I'm just minding my own business, going to the library, running around Netflix, but before I know it, I meet this guy, and I end up developing like a crush, and then that crush tends to spiral into something more, and before I know it, I have a boyfriend. But then that's where it tends to go downhill. Somehow, some way, we always end up breaking up. And that's why I have so many boyfriends, you know? And before you run and judge me, please listen to my side of the story. I hope at least it'll make sense. Let's go ahead and get into it.
Alright, so I know what you all are probably thinking, like, where did it all begin? And if I had to think about it, if I had to go back to the beginning, I guess it all started with Edward Cullen. I know, okay? But you know what? On paper, he seemed like the perfect guy. He's really smart and he's protective and he plays my favorite instrument, which is the piano. Those were all positive things when I first met him. But then as our relationship progressed, there was all like these little things that started to really bother me, and maybe people would say like these are really small things and that I should look past them, but I don't know. Definite age gap between us. I mean, I know that he has like a baby face, but when your boyfriend is over 100+ years old, there's a part of you that kind of can't stop thinking about how old he is. And I don't know, maybe I'm just being a little bit too judgmental and maybe I should let that pass. But if I had to look back, there was definitely this elephant in the room, you know? Like, I would try to just ignore it. And I tried to ignore it, and then like everything just came to a head one day, and we had like the biggest fight ever. And it all started because I had like a few days off from work, and I was like, hey, Edward, wouldn't it be really cool if we can like hang out since I don't have work, and you know, we can just kind of spend time together? And he was like, oh no, I can't do that because I have school. And I was like, you mean high school? I mean, this is just the point where I just couldn't ignore it anymore, and I just confronted him. I'm like, why do you even go to high school anyways? You've graduated probably like 10 times. Isn't there something else you can do besides going to high school over and over and over again? And then he got like really quiet and really offended, like that's just like the thing that he likes to do. And then I was just kind of on a roll, and I just ripped into him. I know I kind of went a little bit overboard, but I just confronted him, and I was just like, you know, don't take this the wrong way because I know you're dead and everything, but what do you want to do with the rest of your life? I mean, he's immortal, and all he wants to do is go to high school. And I even asked him, I was like, do you ever think about, I don't know, getting a job or something, contributing to society somehow? And he got all defensive, and he was like, I don't need a job because I come from old money. And I was like, old money? And I guess I kind of said that sarcastically, and he really took offense to that. And I was like, well, your dad Carlisle has a job and he has lots of money, and I'm pretty sure the old money that you're referring to is his money. So I guess his argument didn't really make sense to me, and I guess by that point I just couldn't ignore it anymore. Like, I couldn't be with someone that had such a lack of ambition, you know? I mean, is that wrong of me to break up with someone because they just lack ambition? Like, this person is so smart and can do so many things. They're immortal and practically have all the time in the world. And instead of doing something that could benefit society, all he wants to do is go to high school over and over and over. I'm like, I'm sorry, it's not going to work out between us. Alright, so after that relationship with Edward Cullen, I met Jon Snow, and at first he wasn't really my type, you know. I was like, I don't know, seems kind of broody. But then I got to know him a little more, and I really liked his characteristics. He's like, and he's really handsome too. Like he's like has really dark eyes and dark hair. His accent is really sexy. And he has this reputation of being loyal, and he's a great defender and really, really sticks up for people, you know? And that was really endearing. Those were really endearing qualities. But as our relationship progressed, and maybe it's just me, but I started to notice things again, that there were these roadblocks that we were encountering, that there was just these things that I would notice. Like there was this one time where we decided to have date night at home and like stay in, you know, just kind of stay in, lay on the couch and cuddle. Everything was going well. We were watching like our favorite shows. And then I was like, you know, I wanted to introduce him to one of my favorite shows, which is The Walking Dead. And before I know it, he's like running out of the house screaming. I look outside the window and he's climbing a light post. He grabs onto a pigeon and he orders it to fly to the north and tell everyone that the White Walkers have returned. Like, I don't know about you guys, but that is major cringe. I seriously hope that the neighbors didn't see him. And then there was this one time where I was showing him around New York City. We're just kind of hitting the touristy sites, and he seemed to really be enjoying that, and I was enjoying it too. And it was getting really late, and I was like, you know what, John, we should probably head back. If we walk quickly, we can probably catch the next subway, and we can get home pretty quickly. And then he was so adamant. He's like, oh, no, I don't want to take the subway. I'd rather take a horse. And I was like, there's no horses around here. If you want, we can like get a taxi or call an Uber. And he was so adamant. He was like, no, I want to take that horse over there. And I was like, what horse? And he's like, the horse over there. And I was like, that horse over there? And he was like, yeah, if anything, I'll just walk up to them with my sword and let them know that I'm like Jon Snow. And I was just like, okay. You may be king of the north, but around here, NYPD rules these lands. And then John was like, well, I have Longclaw and I've won all these battles. Like, you don't know what I have been through. And I was like, I understand that where you come from, that you have this high reputation and that you're really good at defending yourself, but it's different here, you know? This is New York, and the NYPD, they have this thing called riot gear, and they have those zip tie handcuffs. I just don't think that it's worth the confrontation. So if we can just refrain from taking a horse this time, you know what? Maybe some other time we can go somewhere and ride horses for nostalgia's sake, but I don't know. I just don't think it's a good idea to be walking up to this police officer and demanding that you want to take his horse. And then came the day where I had to break up with him. I was just like, John, you know what? This isn't really working out between us. I just don't think we're on the same page. And he was like, Ciel, come on. I mean, I thought you were really into me, you know? And I was like, well, I was. And then he's like, well, what's the problem? And finally, I just had to tell him, I'm like, you're just too extra, okay? You're just too extra. And he's like, what are you talking about? And I was like, for one, you walk around everywhere with your sword, and even for New York standards, that's kind of weird. It's weird, okay? The only time it's appropriate to walk around with a sword is if it's Comic-Con weekend. And then I brought up his coat, and he's like, what's wrong with my coat? And I said, what's wrong with it? Well, for one, it still has a face attached to it. And yeah, I could see how that could be very problematic around here. And then he started to give me attitude, and he was like, what's the problem? And I said, for one, pretty sure one day you're going to get assassinated by Peeta. Just saying. But in the end, things didn't really work out between us. We kind of didn't see eye to eye on things. And you know what? I can't put all the blame on him. I blame myself as well. You know, there's just some things that I couldn't compromise with. And yeah. But speaking of Peeta, there was a very short relationship, and to be honest, it was kind of a rebound after Jon Snow. I know, I'm making like very bad decisions. But Peeta, honestly, I thought he was really cute, and he was an entrepreneur. He owned his own bakery. But maybe because it was a rebound, this relationship didn't last very long. Like, for one, it seemed like he wouldn't really listen to me, and he wasn't really supportive of my goals, you know? Like, a lot of times he would, like, bake a cake out of nowhere and be like, hey, babe, look, I baked this cake for you. Let's go and eat it. And I'm like, for the 10th time, I have told you that I'm on a diet, okay? And I don't appreciate you keep on putting cake and pastries and cookies and pies in my face. I have told told you numerous times that I'm trying to lose weight and that I'm on a diet. And a part of me wonders if he is sabotaging my goal on purpose, because even though I tell him these things and I'm trying to work on my health, he keeps on bringing me cake, and then like I can't just like leave it in the kitchen and be like, I'll eat it later. Like he wants to eat it together, and he asks me like how it tastes. And then not only is it the cake, he brings out the cookies, and like, you know, I have very little willpower. I just wish that, I know he owns a bakery and everything, I just wish that he wouldn't like shove it in my face and make me so tempted, you know? And one of the most degrading things that he's done is that every time I come back from a run, he throws carbs at me. Like, can you not? So yeah, this relationship didn't last long either, so I know, and maybe I am a little bit high maintenance, and maybe I need to make better life decisions, but I don't know.
Alright guys, so did you see my side of the story at all? And if anything, if you have any relationship advice for me, please leave it down below in the comments. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.